Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Having Juice with OJ. We are here with season 2 for y'all. Jeremy, how we feeling?
What's up, everybody? This is Germ, co-host of Having Juice with OJ. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling excited. We are back. Let's get to it.
So we're going to start off talking about free agency that recently just started yesterday. By the time this comes out, we'll probably already be a couple days ahead in this. But starting off with the Eagles. I mean, what did they just do? Did they just dismantle the Giants with that Saquon pick?
I wouldn't say dismantle because the Giants were already in a trajectory of their own and it wasn't upwards. But getting Saquon Barkley, a premier running back in the National Football League, on a pretty cheap deal.
I mean, it wasn't too cheap because it was the second highest paid in running back in NFL history. Isn't that insane?
That just goes to show how undervalued the position is because a player like him, who was the offensive engine for the New York Giants, he was everything for them. He's coming into this offense where he's going to be a cog in the machine, and he's going to be able to showcase his skills to the highest of levels behind a great offensive line that did just lose Jason Kelce, who is arguably one of the greatest centers of all time. But it's still one of the best offensive lines in the league, and now you're adding a top 5 running back when healthy.
Pretty much how I see it is Jalen Hurts, he can win as many games as he does. He tends to be a winner. But the ones that he can't, I feel like Saquon might be able to win those for him. So I'm excited to see that, along with their signing of Bryce Huff.
Yeah, that was huge. Bryce Huff coming over from the New York Jets. He was an undrafted free agent, I believe, and he got the most money for an undrafted free agent ever. So congratulations to Bryce Huff. You know, he was a dog last year. He was an absolute dog. He a lot of people still don't know who he is, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of Philadelphia fans don't know who he is. But I can see him quickly becoming a household name. Becoming a fan favorite like Hassan Reddick was for you guys.
Especially with that 3-year, $51.1 million deal he just got. It's nice for a defensive end. That does not happen too much.
Yeah, no cap. And going back to like Saquon and Jalen, like now when the Eagles are within 10 yards, like it's an automatic 7 points, right? Like if
it should be.
If they're within 10 yards, it's either Tush Push or Saquon. It's like the two of them combined can squat like 1,200. I saw online or something like that.
Personally, I would have probably kept DeAndre Swift if I was the Eagles for a cheaper deal. You would have been able to secure him for $8 million a year. But nonetheless, Saquon's a great name to have, especially because he's a Penn Stater, especially because he's from the PA. So everybody loves him around here. It's a household name around here already, like you're talking about. Bryce might be. But I'm excited to see where that goes. And moving right on to the Giants.
Real quick, though, it kind of just doesn't sit right with me, though, because, like, yeah, they signed Saquon and they did give Bryce a great deal. But, that secondary for the Eagles is still it's not good for me. It's not good enough. Like, that defense needed more attention. You still have Bradbury and you still have Slay. And Slay is, when he's healthy, a lot of people love to praise him. I'm not one of those people. And Bradbury, we all know, we saw him get exposed time again last season. So I think they really needed to lock in on that side of the ball. And, we saw the Lions trade for a guy like Carlton Davis. If I'm the Eagles, shit, I'm getting Carlton Davis and starting him over James Bradbury. Like, I don't know. I feel like the priorities kind of weren't in line, and they saw a guy like Saquon available, and they just got him.
They definitely jumped on Saquon when they probably could have jumped for Xavier McKinney a little bit sooner. So I can see where you're going with the secondary not being strong. I mean, they're middle linebackers too. There's a weak middle linebacker class in general. Even in free agency, there's not a lot of good ones. So I mean, I don't think that they had many options for the defense. So they just kind of tried to boost up their offense, even though their offense was already one of the best in the league. So,
yeah, and this upcoming draft class is a pretty good linebacker class, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, I guess they're gonna try to address those issues there, but
maybe I think they're probably gonna try to draft a cornerback. I don't think they're gonna go middle linebacker, at least not in their earlier rounds. But we shall see.
Good luck.
Moving on to the Giants. I mean, they just got a big signing of Brian Burns for 5 years, $150. How we feeling about that, Germ?
I think that was an A++ move. It was good enough to make all the Giants fans kind of forget about what just happened with Saquon. Pairing him up with with Sexy Dexy and Kayvon and Bobby Okereke and Keontae Banks. Like you can see what they're doing in New York, at least on one side of the ball. I don't know what they're doing on offense. Don't even get me started with that. But yeah, on that side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball, they're building something. They're building a great core with guys who are young, who are either in their prime or going to be in their prime in 2 to 3 years. And I love it. It's going to be scary for for the NFC East, and it's going to be scary for a lot of teams that they play.
I'm excited for it, but not right now. I don't think in the next 2 years they're going to be anything, because obviously they're going to be a rebuilding year, especially if they grab a young quarterback in the draft, which seems to be their only move right now is for their future. That's all I can say. I don't see them being too great in the next 2 years. I don't see them competing against the Cowboys and the Eagles, and maybe even the Commanders if the Commanders get the quarterback that they want.
Yeah, 2 things. With that, I see where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, if a team can't score points, they're not going to win. If the Giants are preventing other teams from scoring points and they're doing it with a very, very stout defense, it's going to give their offense a lot of opportunities to put points on the board, whether it's a good offense, whether it's a young offense and an inexperienced offense. That defense is going to have to carry the load for the Giants for the foreseeable future. So whether they do grab a quarterback or whether they do decide to, grab some building pieces for now, we'll see. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm
more interested in them than I am the Eagles.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm more interested to see.
Well, that's because the Eagles are a little bit more like already built. Like they have like their set pieces, I guess.
But still, they had the collapse from last year. Like everybody wants to see how they like. I'm very intrigued to see how they respond to that, how they come back this season. Whether like with the pieces that they're adding or getting healthier, or this and that. But I'm more intrigued in what the Giants are doing.
Yeah, with their defense, I mean, they're building a crazy New York defense. I mean, gritty team, gritty G-men, I guess they could say. Gritty G-men. All right, moving on. We've got the Packers-Vikings. Both had some significant trades that just happened. Free agency's been wild for them. I mean, starting with the Packers releasing Aaron Jones, I mean, that was a hurt piece for them, I believe.
That's a big hurt piece. Aaron Jones was a great player, not just for the Packers, but like he was a great person for the community. He was beloved. He was like him and Kenny Clark were the last 2 players from like the previous era. And just seeing him go, that hurt. But getting a guy like Josh Jacobs in return,
a younger guy,
a guy who's coming off not a great year, but his 3 years prior to that, he was an amazing running back. And the crazy thing about it is the deal that they gave to Josh Jacobs as a 26-year-old running back is the same deal that they gave to Aaron Jones when he was a 26-year-old running back. So you can kind of see like what they're looking for.
4 years, $48 million for the people who did not know.
So it's a good deal. Kind of slight overpay if you're thinking about 2023 Josh Jacobs. If you're thinking about 2022 Josh Jacobs, it's a great deal.
Yeah.
So pairing him up with Jordan Love and the boys out there in Green Bay is going to be exciting to see. But then also getting Xavier McKinney, that was huge. That was huge. We got Jeff Hafley coming in from Boston College as the new defensive coordinator, and you can see like right away what he wants to do with this defense. And he wants guys that are able to make plays. He wants guys that are able to line up on different sides of the field and just be dogs. And between Jair and Quay and Xavier, like you're really starting to get an identity on defense.
What would you say to the fans that say Xavier McKinney is soft?
Hey, man. He's better than Darnell Savage, I'll tell you that much. Better than Darnell Savage, I'll tell you that much.
I mean, his deal for the people who also did not know is 4 years, $68 million. But yeah, Darnell Savage, that's good to get rid of him.
See ya.
I mean, he goes to Jacksonville. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But to keep it in-house, we've got the Vikings right across from the Packers with their little rivalry where they just picked up Aaron Jones for 1 year, $7 million. That is a steal for everyone who does not know. And this is a steal from Jeremy Jimenez, who is a huge Packers fan. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, as I was telling OJ, I'm happy for Aaron Jones. I'm not happy for the Vikings. The purple incarnation of Satan, you guys, whatever. He's gonna look terrible in that uniform. But it's a great deal. You're getting a guy who was a top 3 running back when healthy last year. This guy put up 4 straight 100-yard games, including in the playoffs, and he was a pivotal weapon for the Packers for the last 6-7 years. But you guys also signed Sam Darnold to a 1-year, $10 million deal. So now that quarterback room, you guys did lose Kirk Cousins, who was there for the past 6 years, but now it's Sam Darnold, Jaron Hall, Nick Mullins. Like, it's weak. It's a very weak quarterback room. But the weapons around them are very strong. And you guys also added Jonathan Greenard from the Texans. So that's, getting ready to lose Danielle Hunter, because I don't think you guys are going to keep him. So.
I don't think we're going to keep him either, which is going to make me just as sad as Aaron Jones leaving you, honestly. Danielle Hunter's been a big part of our defense. It's been very sad for the Vikings. But you only brought up Sam Darnold. I don't like that, because we are looking to get a draft pick quarterback. So, I mean, I don't see Sam. I could see Sam Darnold being the quarterback to start the first couple games. I could see that, and maybe developing a young quarterback that maybe we grab in the early second round, Michael Penix maybe. But maybe we go all the way up and we try to grab a JJ, a Drake May, even though we know a team that's pretty focused on them right now. I could see us going up and going into the top 5 pick category just to grab maybe the 4th best quarterback in the draft, which I'd be okay with, especially with all of our weapons. I mean, no matter what, Jay Jett is a 1K yard target, no matter what. Yeah. Probably 1,500 at least. And then Jordan Addison just came out as a dog. And then TJ Hawkinson, dog.
Off at the ACL, we're gonna have to see how he comes back off of that. But I have no concerns.
I have no concerns just because he just catches the ball. He
tough.
catches the ball. He's a beast. So I don't know. I can see us being pretty good if we can grab a quarterback early. And I think the NFC North is scary.
Oh yeah, very scary. Like, we're gonna have to go through and rank all these divisions, but the NFC North definitely in the past 2 years has gone from the bottom to the top, and it's gonna be very competitive for years to come. With the picks and the draft, moving up, you guys can have, anything can happen. So whether it's a slight overpay or underpay, or you guys get a steal or somebody falls to you, we never know how it's gonna end up until it actually happens. So for now,
we have Sam Darnold.
So
let's go Skull. Moving on, we're just gonna go right to the Raiders, signing Christian Wilkins to a 4-year, $110 million to pair with the only Max Crosby. I absolutely love Max, and adding Christian Wilkins just will scare the hell out of any quarterback. How do we feel about this signing, Germ?
It's a lot of rumblings online are now the Raiders have 2 Max Crosbys, because the way that Christian Wilkins plays, the way how he's so aggressive and up in your face and a disruptor, and now
chases you down.
Now they're going to be able to feed off of each other, and in that same division with Patrick Mahomes, they're going to create a lot of hell for him. And it's a great approach for the Raiders. They're getting to that Raider way of getting dogs on that defense, and with Antonio Pierce as the head coach, they're going to be building something on that defensive line. It's going to start with them.
Yeah.
And they also did sign Gardner Minshew from the Colts to come and either start or compete for the job with Aiden O'Connell.
He's definitely going to be competing.
Well, in my mind, he's a tier above him, but whether the Raiders are content with that or maybe making a move in the draft, we'll see. But they have Gardner Minshew now. Devontae Adams has a better quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Gardner Minshew definitely is able to chuck the ball. He's not scared to throw the ball. He likes to win games, and he can run a little bit.
Don't
forget about him running a little bit.
Yeah,
he's got some legs on him. He'll run into the end zone for a touchdown.
He fits
15 yards out.
So
I do like him fitting into that culture. I think Raiders Nation will 100% welcome him with open arms if he can beat out Aiden O'Connell, because I do think that they're gonna say that there's a competition, but then I still think no matter what they have in their brain, Gardner Minshew is gonna start over him.
Yeah.
Just in the beginning of the season, and then barring any issues, then they'd move on to Aiden.
Yeah.
And maybe switch back and forth and see what happens. But yeah, we'll see how they do. But yeah, Christian Wilkins and Gardner Minshew, welcome to Raiders Nation. Moving on, we've got the Jaguars. I mean, you just talked about them a little bit earlier with them grabbing Darnell Savage. Great pickup, right?
For them. Great for them.
for them. But one of their bigger signings was Mac Jones.
Well, not
Mac Jones.
Didn't he get traded there for a pick
To where?
to Jacksonville?
Oh, yeah.
Like, he didn't.
Oh, yeah.
sign it.
Did I say
he got-
trade? Yeah.
He got traded there for like a fifth round
For
pick.
a fifth round pick. Yeah.
So Mac Jones going down to Jacksonville. He's from that area, so going back home to sunny Florida, not playing in New England.
Jacksonville is an ugly place, man. I'm sorry to tell
It's
the people
wild.
of Jacksonville, but it's ugly.
It's a wild place.
But how do we feel about that over there in Jaguars Nation over there? I don't know how to feel.
Yeah, starting with Mac Jones, it's he's had a rough time in New England. Bill Belichick, that first year he did pretty well in that system, and then the following year he had a defensive and a special teams coordinator run the offense for him and be all up in his ear every game. So it's like it can kind of get difficult, and the weapons weren't all there.
Yeah.
However, you're kind of expected to do certain things at this level, and he wasn't really producing, so they shipped him out of there.
Yeah.
He's gonna go back up Trevor Lawrence, where I think that could be a great role for him right now. And aside from that, the other moves that they made, getting Gabe Davis from the Bills. I was watching First Take this morning, and Unc was talking about how 77% of Gabe Davis's catches have either gone for first downs or touchdowns. And that's actually
an absurd stat.
Regardless of whether or not he's getting like 50 or 60 catches a year. Like, that's actually crazy. You're telling me that almost 40 of this guy's catches are going for first downs or touchdowns. That's insane. He's a chain mover, and Trevor Lawrence is getting that weapon.
Yeah, and I don't hate their wide receiver room at all, along with their tight end with Evan Ingram, even though when he was a Giant, he was absolutely terrible. But him with Jacksonville has been, if some could say, an all-star caliber tight end.
Yeah, especially with the second half of last season, he really started to turn it up.
Mm-hmm.
And losing Calvin really, he started off the year pretty hot and then fizzled out.
And then he fizzled out, which was very annoying for fantasy users of him. But yeah, I mean, him and Christian Kirk, I think they'll get the job done with Trevor Lawrence. As long as Trevor Lawrence doesn't have any injury issues again this year, I can see them being good again. I mean, last year, if you rewind the tape, I did say Trevor Lawrence was going to be that dog for them this past year and that they were going to be a good team, but they fumbled the bag, I think. They definitely had the opportunities to, but Gabe Davis adds some flair to their offense. So I'm excited to see them.
Yeah, health is just the issue for them. So
Exactly. We'll see about the health thing. Moving on. The Cincinnati Bengals, man. Joe Mixon. That's an upsetting way to part with him. I mean, I'm pretty sure you said that he wasn't even able to look at the market for other teams.
yeah, I saw like a report, don't quote me because I don't know verbatim, but like saw a report where like he wasn't really able to talk to other teams or like seek out a deal for himself, and the Bengals had already signed his replacement and then cut him. So that's kind of sad for Joe Mixon because he's been a staple for that team since before they had Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and competing for AFC championships and going to Super Bowls when they were still, a quote unquote lottery team.
Yeah.
So it's sad, but at the end of the day, it's the business. The Bengals get Zach Moss. Joe Mixon moves on to what I was telling you is kind of like a similar offense. He goes down to Houston to CJ Stroud and the boys down there, which is a great move for him. And, the Bengals, they got to get healthy this year.
They have to stay healthy. I want Joe Burrow out there. I want him to be the second best quarterback in the league again. And Jamar Chase, please, dog, stay healthy, man. Do your thing. Run those routes. The other upsetting thing with the Bengals is T. Higgins. I mean, he's requesting a trade, is he not?
Yeah, so after getting franchise tagged a couple weeks ago, T. Higgins is requesting a trade. And what I've read or saw is, so Michael Pittman Jr. of the Colts, he was franchise tagged last year, I believe like the past 2 years, or where they were franchise tagging him, but they were trying to get a contract done. They were still in negotiations, and both sides were, willing and able to sit down and have those conversations. Apparently, that wasn't the case with T. Higgins. They haven't even approached him about, contract talks, contract situations, and as we both know, they're getting prepared to pay Jamar Chase a large sum of money. He is going to be paid a lot. But it's like, where does that leave T. Higgins?
Uh-huh.
T. Higgins can go and be the number one wide receiver on 85% of NFL teams.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, now the Bengals aren't doing faithful by him. So what's going to happen?
It's definitely upsetting because all last year too, and the last 2 years, I would say, we've been very high on T. Higgins and we love him. He's a great character piece. He plays his role perfectly. And like you said, 85% of the teams he can be a number one wide receiver on, and everybody can quote us on that because I believe in that 100%. So he knows his worth, but the Bengals just did not want to show him his worth because they have somebody like Jamar Chase who they're just putting everything into, which is a little upsetting that you wouldn't want both of them because having them on each side of the ball it has worked and it's been beautiful. I mean, we've seen it, how it produced. So I'm upset about that.
And the thing is, I feel like it wasn't just like this past year. I feel like it's been going on for like the past 2 years where we're trying to figure out like what the contract negotiations are for T. Higgins, and like no information has been coming out about that for like the past 2 seasons. So.
That is interesting because usually you hear something. Usually something's said out loud, but nothing was ever spoken about with T. Higgins. So that's upsetting, man, and I hope you get somewhere that you love. And yeah, GG's to you with the Bengals at this point. Moving on. The Commanders, man. They just picked up one of the great veterans running backs of Austin Eckler. Can't speak right now. 2 years, $11.43 million. I mean, I love that deal for them, especially because they're so high on getting a quarterback in the draft at number 2. I absolutely love this. Love this for them. I mean, he's a veteran. He gets the job done. On the Chargers, Austin Eckler was the solely leading them to wins. I mean, it was all him. He has himself on his fantasy team. So then he has said that makes him want to get more touchdowns. I mean, who doesn't love a guy like that on their team?
He's putting on for the people. Yeah, the Commanders have been very, very active. I love it. They're out there. They're active. They're getting guys post Ron Rivera. It's Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's there now. They're making moves. Austin Eckler isn't the only person they signed. They had like 8 signings. They also got Marcus Mariota. He was backing up Jalen Hurts last year on the Eagles. Now he's going to be on the Commanders, either backing up Sam Howell or backing up the number 2 pick in the draft. They got him for 1 year on a deal that's anywhere from $6 million upwards to $10 million.
With his barring his incentives, I'm guessing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming so.
Love that.
They also added a linebacker, Frankie Lavu, defensive end Dorrance Armstrong Jr., center Tyler, I can't pronounce his last name, Biotis, guard Nick Allegretti, and kicker Brandon McManus. So the Commanders have been very busy, and we'll see what happens, because I'm like, they're looking. No, they're not looking. They're just making moves. They're making moves.
Yeah,
they're not looking.
They're definitely making some moves. They're making a splash in free agency, which is huge. Something that the Commanders have really lacked on. I think new management really shook them up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's exciting for them. Hopefully, Magic Johnson can keep doing a little sprinkle, helping out a little bit. Moving on from the Commanders, though, because there's not much to say, because I mean, I still don't think they're a playoff contending team yet. But the Titans, man. I mean, Derrick Henry's going to be gone after a long seasons he has played in. I mean, he was the heart and soul of that team. That is sad for Titans, but I mean, you've got to move on at some point. You're not going to make it there with him. Running backs as your main focal point usually will not lead you to the Super Bowl. I mean, we've kind of seen that. How do we feel about them grabbing Tony Pollard? 3 years, I mean, $24 million. I love that signing, by the way.
Like the Titans are kind of similar to like the Giants, where I think of Derrick Henry the same way I do Saquon. Derrick Henry has been the engine, the heart and the soul of that team for the past multitude of seasons. He's going to go down as one of the greatest Titans running backs, and the Titans, they just seem to have something with great running backs. Like, they always have had great running backs. Derrick Henry is going to be another one of them. I actually hate the signing of Tony Pollard.
Yeah?
I hate it because, you had a guy in Tyjae Spears who showed amazing flashes. And the more workload that he got last year, it was the more like amazing things we would see from him, whether he was breaking off 30-yard runs or catching 50-yard passes. or making multiple defenders miss tackles. It's just like Tony Pollard, he didn't have a great year last year. He was hurt for the majority of last year, but he was able to kind of finish the year strong. I'm a big fan of Tyjae Spears. You know, the Titans are kind of now on the younger side, you know, with Will Levis and company. And, I mean, you still got D-Hop there, but, you know, Tony Pollard, it's not really a needle mover for me.
I wouldn't say needle mover, but I would say that Tony Pollard has worked in a dual running back set before. I mean, with him and Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah. So I can see them with a younger quarterback just be able to move the ball a lot, move the chains. I mean, if you have those Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard on both sides of you, what can you do? You can do everything. They both can catch. They both can run vertically, horizontally. It does not matter. So I can see them being able to do different sets more with that team, especially because Will Levis as a young quarterback isn't going to – you can't put it all on him. They're going to have to get the ball out quick. And, I mean, he does have a beast of an arm for sure, so he's going to let it fly. But I think a lot of it's going to be a lot of checkdowns, a lot of get them to move that needle, the actual needle on the field, and not just the needle to Super Bowl. I think that this is a good step in the right direction for them after knowing that Derrick Henry was not going to be there. So that's why I see it being a good deal for them.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, too. And Tennessee's always been kind of like that run-first type team. So
yeah.
I guess it fits what they want to do, but I just hope that with a guy like Tony Pollard, the wearing his hair from last season where that jumping usage kind of got to him, I hope it just doesn't happen again.
Yeah. And then we're going to move on to the New England Patriots right here, baby. They just signed Jacoby Brissett and running back Antonio Gibson. How do we feel about these signings for them?
It was the same. I kind of felt the same way about the Antonio Gibson signing, the same way I did about the Tony Pollard signing. It was with Ramondre Stevenson, too. It's like, this young, talented guy this young, talented, do-it-all type of guy. But it's kind of the same thing, too, because when Ramondre has that increased workload, you kind of do see him get injured a little bit more. So, I mean, I guess I don't know what they're going to do with Zeke. Do they keep him? Do they not? He was kind of great for them. He kind of was great for them. Jacoby Brissett, you know, get a nice veteran quarterback in there, reunited with the Patriots. He played there before. I'm sure he's familiar with head coach Gerard Mayo, because he's been
there
with New England forever. And now it's upwards and onwards. We're looking for the draft. We're looking to get our guy at number 3. That's what everybody in New England is thinking now. So,
yeah, no, I definitely can see it. I mean, I feel a little bit differently. I definitely don't think it's anything close to a Tony Pollard signing with Antonio Gibson. I mean, I like Antonio Gibson, but the one thing I want to say about everything we've talked about today is all these running backs in free agency getting picked up when all last year nobody wanted to give a running back a contract. Maybe they knew that this free agency this year would be so stacked heavily that they could get him for a lower price. But still, that doesn't make sense to me for the league that all of a sudden running backs are valued right now. How do we feel about just this random anomaly? Oh, my God, running backs, we need them. Let's grab an older one to pair with our younger one like Ramondre. What is the point of this right now?
Yeah, that's like I remember yesterday when I was just telling you that. I'm just like, it just doesn't make sense because, like, how are you going to devalue the position so much that we're just kind of going to go flip-flop with everything now? And it's just like, we don't want to pay these guys, so we're just going to – I mean, I guess I kind of see where they're coming from. They don't want to – they didn't want to pay him. They didn't want to pay the position. The position is kind of a deteriorating position where, it's revolving. You see all the movement now and thinking from, like, a business perspective, thinking from an owner's head, a general manager's perspective. It's like, a lot of these guys have similar skill sets. Some of them get hurt more than others. And some of them are demanding a lot more money than others. So it's like, if I can get away with getting a guy who can do something similar to somebody else, but I can pay him a lot less, and he's not going to get hurt, I feel like that's kind of how we've gotten to this point. Yeah. Where last year we see Jonathan Taylor sit out for a multitude of weeks, and we see all the stuff going on with Saquon and the Giants, where he ends up getting franchise tagged for 1 year, $11 million. Like, those types of things have kind of led to this point where it's like now the position is so devalued and it's so revolving, whereas like every season now, it's going to seem like every season now we're going to see a lot of movement.
Yeah, it's just interesting to me to go back on the Saquon deal. I mean, it just completely goes against what happened last year with it. I mean, DeAndre, like I told you, would have been you would chop it in half, the contract. Yet they wanted to go and double it. That's why I'm just so confused and baffled by this whole running back thing. But I mean, like you said, it's going to change every single year, so we can only do so much. Teams that need a new running back. Who do we feel right now? Who do you think needs a running back?
Yeah, so I mean, I had put down 5 teams. I had put down the Ravens, the Cowboys, the Raiders, the Browns, and the Texans. Since then, the Texans, who have lost Devin Singletary, went to the Giants. They still had Dameon Pierce, but now they signed Joe Mixon. Love that move. I love that for them. The Browns, they have Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt. That was who they had coming in from last year. Nick Chubb, we don't know what's gonna happen with Nick Chubb.
I mean, we saw that knee, man.
That gruesome leg injury. It's gonna be very hard to come back from that. But they could still be in the market for a running back. The Raiders, you lose Josh Jacobs. Now you have Zamir White on the roster. He showed in those 2-3 games that he was the full starter, that he can handle that workload and not only handle it, but he can run that rock. He's a dog. Is that who they're gonna go with for the foreseeable future? We don't know. They are another team that could be in the running for a running back. The Cowboys, you lose Tony Pollard. Now you only have Deuce Vaughn on the roster. I've been saying I think that's where Derrick Henry's gonna end up going, is to the Cowboys, but we'll see. And the Ravens, Gus Edwards leaves for the Chargers. You have Justice Hill, and Dalvin Cook, Keaton Mitchell, not
J.K.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook was there. J.K. Whatever happens with him.
Whatever happens with him, because he always gets injured in the first week.
Yeah, I think J.K. Dobbins is done. You still have Keaton Mitchell,
guy.
But
I like Keaton Mitchell still.
Yeah, the Ravens are just like a team with. It's just I kind of feel like this every year, where the Ravens are a team like they go into it with a running back committee, and like 2 of the 5 running backs end up getting hurt. So it's like I don't really want to see like a star running back go there, because I feel like he's gonna get hurt if he does.
Oh, you're throwing bad juju on them.
I know it's like bad superstitions and stuff like that, but I feel like the Ravens running backs and injuries are like they go hand in hand. I don't know why they always get hurt.
Yeah, see, I want to see them on the Ravens. One, because it's an easy drive for us to go and see them, and being able to watch Lamar and Derrick Henry
just run for 300 yards.
It'd be absolutely bonkers, because it is fun to go to Baltimore. I mean, they have a fun fan base. They get down with it. They love their Ravens, and I would love to see him on the Ravens. I can see what you're saying with him going to the Cowboys. It would probably be a little bit less workload, honestly, too, in my head. I think he would get a lot of action with the Ravens, just running RPO sets with Lamar and just all these, Derrick Henry having 100% completing rating, and they're all touchdowns. To Lamar, yeah. Derrick Henry to Lamar for touchdowns from 1 yard out. That would just be electric to see.
That'd be fun to see.
So, I mean, I can see what you're saying. I just think it'd be less fun for the fan bases.
Yeah.
If he was
I also forgot, like we're talking about the Ravens now, like their defense, they lost a couple guys. Geno Stone, he went to the Bengals.
I know.
We were talking about the Bengals. We totally forgot about that. Geno Stone leaves. They keep Justin Matabuke. Honestly, I forgot about a couple other guys, but they're not keeping that crazy Will McDonald defense that they had for the past 2 years. So Patrick Queen's another guy. We got to see what's going to happen with him. So that's going to be interesting to see. Like the Ravens are another team. Like I'm somewhat similar to the Giants. Like I'm very intrigued to see how they,
bounce back from a year like they just had.
Yeah, because I feel like, and not just myself, but a lot of people feel like that was their closest chance. That was their best team. That was the closest that they were going to get to a Super Bowl. And, now Will McDonald, he's in Seattle, and the division got a lot better.
Yeah.
The division, well, not got a lot better, because I guess you could say the Steelers got better.
I mean, their Super Bowl odds didn't move very far.
Yeah, and the Bengals just got healthier. So a healthy Joe Burrow, that's just a team you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, it's scary. Joe Burrow's like that.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about before we get to our top 5 draft picks.
Jameis Winston to the Browns.
Jameis Winston.
needle
Will
mover.
Deshaun be starting still?
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like Deshaun Watson. Browns. Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy got traded to the Browns for a 5th and 6th round pick.
That's true. That was a couple days ago now.
Yeah, a couple days ago. Pair him up with Amari Cooper, David Njoku. That's a scary offense now. I'm loving that offense.
And the thing is, Jerry Jeudy got a lot of hate while he was on the Broncos. I mean, people definitely said their part about him. There were old players that were saying their part about him, that he's not like that he doesn't try hard enough and stuff like that. Well, now, now we'll see. I mean, I'm excited. I think the Browns bring a very good culture. Amari Cooper, I love him, always will. David Njoku's also very much a dog. So seeing Jerry Jeudy right there, I mean, I'm excited for
those
that.
2 Alabama receivers right there. I feel like Jerry Jeudy can. I feel like with Jerry Jeudy, his career, like it's been weird because I feel like he's been in the league for 3-4 years now, but I feel like he's still such a young player that he has so much to learn. And, you know, playing with a guy like Amari, you're obviously going to learn a lot from him. And playing with a quarterback like Deshaun, if he can get to where he needs to get to. We saw when he wasn't injured with the shoulder, like he was all right. He wasn't anything great. He wasn't how he used to play. But if he can keep getting back to that level, you have 3 guys in David, Jerry, and Amari. You know, and you still got, I don't know what's going to happen with Eli Moore. But
it's all right. Still, it doesn't even matter too much.
It's still a good team. Still a good team. So that AFC North is still going to be very, very.
Yeah, and they got Jerry for pretty damn cheap. 5th and 6th.
That's it.
That's cheap, guys. All righty. The time we've been waiting for. Top 5 draft prediction for this upcoming 2024 draft. Jeremy, you want to start or do you want me to start? You know what? I think I'll start.
Yeah, you should start.
I'll start.
You should start.
So, number 1, I mean, obviously this is barring a lot of trades for me. But
yeah, we're barring, like, the rule that OJ gave me was like, give your top 5 picks, no trades. So this is without any trades happening, no teams moving up, no teams moving down, no teams moving back, no movement within the top 5. Like, this is straight up like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, this is how it's going.
Yeah, because we can't get messy with the trades. We don't know what's going to happen.
Trades can get
For the Bears, first pick, I got them picking Caleb Williams. I know I know about Justin Fields, but I think that they go Caleb still. Number 2, Drake May to the Commanders. Commandees absolutely love him right now. 3, Jaden Daniels to the Patriots. I like that a little bit. Marvin Harrison to the Cardinals. They need somebody like him over there. Joe Alt to the Chargers because they need somebody to protect that man's. So that's my top 5 right away, real quick. We'll get into them a little bit after this. You go to your top 5.
Yeah, so I'm in the small boat, the small party that believes Chicago should keep Justin Fields. If I'm Chicago, I'm keeping Justin Fields, and we are going to continue building on the defense that we've created last year and the weapons that we got for Justin. So number 1, we're going to take one of the greatest wide receiver prospects ever. We're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr., send him to Chicago, pair him up with DJ Moore and Justin Fields, and just create that fast, lightning fast offense. That's going to be super fun to watch. Number 2, the Commanders are set, I feel, on Drake May. The Commanders are going to take their guy in Drake May because they've been with him throughout this entire process. They know how he is. They probably love him. They know that he can lead. And that's what I hear from everybody that's been around him, is that they love him and that he can lead and that he's ready to do this. So I got Drake May going number 2 to the Commanders. So that leaves the Patriots getting their golden boy QB at number 3, Caleb Williams. I feel like when Bill was still there, like, I feel like it wouldn't have matched. I like this now. It's like that the Patriots are that legacy organization. They had Tom, you know. The spoiled children are going to get the great QB again. They're going to get Caleb, pair him up with Gerard Mayo, get that new age Patriots dynasty going again. I like that. At 4, with the Cardinals, I'm going to have them protect Kyler Murray. I'm going to have them take Joe Alt, the best offensive lineman in this draft. You know, buff up that line, get the Cardinals back to competing how they were, a couple years ago before Kyler got hurt. See what they have with him and just keep building there. And at 5, with the Chargers, Justin Herbert's also going to get his guy in Malik Neighbors. I believe that the tiers, there's not that much of a difference between Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze. I believe that all three of them are pro-ready. They're going to go into whatever team they go into and produce immediately. And a guy like Malik Neighbors going to LA with Justin Herbert, with his skill set and his speed, that could be great. And he can learn a lot from a guy like Keenan Allen. Like, I would love to see that pairing. So that's my top 5.
Interesting picks, Jeremy. Interesting picks. Well, that concludes our episode, unless you have anything else you want to say real quick.
Go, Pack, go.
Yeah, fuck out of here. All right. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And keep checking in and tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe for season 2. We are just getting started. Every week we will be here again. We are back and we are better. Thank you so much. Peace out.